Take a look back at your life over the past 24 hours. A single delayed text from a coworker, one malicious comment on social media, or a rush-hour traffic jam, and your entire day's mood collapses. You get irritated. You snap at your loved ones. You toss and turn all night. If this happens every day, face the brutal truth. You are not in control of your life. You are handing the remote control of your emotions to any random stranger on the street. But have you ever noticed those rare individuals? They walk through chaos with a calm that is almost frightening. Their company goes bankrupt. They sit down and analyze the data. They get slandered. They smile and walk away. A loved one passes. They swallow their grief to become the pillar for their family. Life isn't any easier for them than it is for you. The only difference, they have trained their mind to be a fortress, while yours remains a frail hut exposed to the storm. In this video, we aren't talking about empty fluff like just stay positive. I am going to share with you 10 Stoic principles I've refined, restructured, and proven principles that forged the resilience of history's greatest minds. A fair warning, this video is long, and its content will strike directly at your ego. 90% of viewers will click away at minute 3 to return to mindless short-form clips. The remaining 10%, those willing to stay until the very last second, won't just feel energized. You will begin to think in an entirely different way. The choice is yours. Let's begin. Principles 1. Power lies in the space between stimulus and response. Between the moment a bad situation happens and the moment you blow up emotionally, there is always a tiny gap. So small that most people gloss right over it out of pure instinct. Someone insults you, that's the stimulus. You immediately snap back, that's the response. You completely skip the gap in between. You live like a dry leaf. Whichever way the wind blows, that's where you fly. No direction, no control. Look at Kobe Bryant on the basketball court. When an opponent intentionally waved a hand inches from his face to provoke him, Kobe didn't even flinch. He didn't choose to react emotionally with anger. He chose to respond with a game-ending three-pointer. Kobe was the mountain. The opponent was just a passing breeze. Next time someone deliberately tries to provoke you, apply the 5-second rule. Pause. Don't speak. Don't act. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, do I want to be a slave to this anger, or do I want to be the master of myself? The moment you own those 5 seconds, you officially strip away their power over you. Principles 2. Detach your ego from the truth. The nature of every event in this world is neutral, neither good nor bad. Your pain does not come from being fired, rejected, or broken up with. The pain comes from the story your ego invents afterward. The truth: you haven't received a response after the interview. The ego's story: I am a failure, they look down on me, I will never pull myself back up. Marcus Aurelius, the powerful Roman emperor, trained his mind by stripping away all emotional labels. When drinking fine wine, he told himself, "This is merely fermented grape juice." When wearing expensive robes, "This is just sheep's wool dyed with the blood of a shellfish." When you strip away the emotional casing, the event returns to its raw form. Learn to become a mirror in the forest. Reflect the tiger, but do not become the tiger. Reflect the storm, but do not break under it. When you stop dramatizing your life, 80% of your psychological burden automatically disappears. Principles 3. Build a shield to protect your energy. We carefully lock our doors at night, yet leave the gates of our mind wide open for any garbage to pour in. You wake up full of energy, but then you spend 30 minutes scrolling through negative news, 15 minutes listening to a coworker complain about the boss, and an hour arguing with an anonymous account online. By the end of the day, you are exhausted, and wondering why you accomplished nothing of value. Your energy is finite. Steve Jobs wore the same turtleneck and jeans every day to conserve his mental capacity for critical decisions at Apple. He refused to waste brainpower on trivial matters. Treat your focus like money in a bank account. Every time you pay attention to online drama, you transfer $100 to a stranger. Every time you bicker with a jealous person, you take money out of your own pocket to pay for your own misery. Ask yourself one question before every interaction. Is this worth paying for with my life energy? If the answer is no, stay silent and walk away. To keep your mind sharp amidst the chaos out there, hit subscribe and walk this path with the Stoic path. Principles 4. Kill expectations before they destroy your peace. The root cause of all your anger and disappointment does not lie in other people's behavior. It lies in the gap between reality and your unreasonable expectations. You expect people to treat you well because you are good to them. You expect your business plan to succeed wildly. You expect it not to rain on the day of your trip. And when harsh reality goes the opposite way, you collapse. Every morning before getting out of bed, Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Today I will meet ungrateful, arrogant, deceitful, and envious people. But I cannot be harmed by them because I am mentally prepared for it." This is not pessimism, it is active psychological defense. Give without demanding gratitude. Put forth your absolute best effort at work, but prepare for the worst-case scenario. Once you stop signing unreasonable, unspoken contracts with the world, nothing can surprise or disappoint you. Principles 5. Transmute pain into fuel. The natural human reaction when facing pain, failure, or anger is to run away, suppress it, or lash out at everything around them. But the great Stoics saw something else in that emotional fire: raw energy. Unchecked anger will burn your career to the ground. But when compressed and channeled, it becomes the most powerful engine to keep you up later, push your workouts harder, and break past your limits. Look at Abraham Lincoln. He endured severe bouts of depression, business failures, the loss of his deepest love, and the violent tearing apart of his country. Instead of collapsing, he compressed all that pain into an unwavering resolve to liberate millions of slaves and hold America together. He forged himself through immense pressure to cultivate a character as unbreakable as a diamond. Next time life deals you a painful blow, don't ask, "Why me?" Ask instead, "How can I use this energy to upgrade myself?" Turn rejection into discipline, turn pain into laser focus. When you do that, no hardship can destroy you. It is merely accidentally adding fuel to the fire within you. Principle 6. Crush overthinking by returning to the present. Be honest with yourself. How much of the anxiety in your head right now comes from things that haven't even happened yet? You script out 100 worst-case scenarios for tomorrow's meeting. You rehearse imaginary arguments in your head while taking a shower. You live in a phantom future that does not exist. Overthinking is not thinking, it is an uncontrolled imagination. Epictetus once taught, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Look at an antelope on the African savanna. When chased by a lion, it runs for its life, but once it escapes, it stops and calmly goes back to grazing. It doesn't sit there thinking, "What if that lion comes back? What if I die tomorrow?" Humans do the exact opposite. We sit in a safe room with the air conditioner humming while our mind fights 10 imaginary battles. Whenever you catch yourself falling into the overthinking trap, practice pulling yourself back to reality. Look around and name 3 objects you see. Feel your feet touching the floor. Ask yourself, right now, in this very second, is there any danger threatening my life? If the answer is no, quiet the noise, and keep moving forward. Principle 7. End your addiction to approval. Why do you feel insecure? Because you are living for the applause of others. You post a photo and constantly refresh the page to count the likes. You do a good deed, yet feel hollow because no one praised you. You buy a car beyond your financial means just to impress people you don't even like. When your self-worth depends on someone else's perspective, you turn yourself into an emotional beggar. Today they praise you, and you're on cloud 9. Tomorrow they criticize you, and you drop into the abyss. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Does the sun need praise to shine? Does a rose need applause to give off its fragrance?" Your worth is defined by your internal standards, not external applause. If you do the right thing simply because it is right, whether the world recognizes it or not, no longer matters. Stop performing. Start living. Principles 8. Have the courage to sit alone in silence. What is the single greatest challenge of the modern human? It is the inability to sit quietly in an empty room for 15 minutes without reaching for a phone. The moment silence appears, restlessness instantly takes over. You have to turn on the TV, play music, or scroll through TikTok. Why? Because in that silence, every unhealed wound and every naked truth about yourself that you try so hard to evade resurfaces to the top. That escape is a symptom of inner weakness. The mathematician Blaise Pascal once noted, "All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone." The Stoics viewed silence as a gym for the mind. Every single day, set aside 10 to 15 minutes. No phone, no music, no notebook. Simply sit still and observe your thoughts passing by like clouds across the sky. Once you learn to make peace with your own solitude, no one and nothing in this world can ever make you feel lonely or insecure again. Principles 9. Broaden your perspective. The 5-year rule. Your anger or panic right now is like pressing your eye right against a painting. All you see is a black ink stain, and you think the entire canvas is ruined. Take 10 steps back. Every time a setback occurs, getting chewed out by your boss, losing a sum of money, or having someone cancel plans on you, ask yourself one psychological antidote. Will this matter 5 years from now? That heated argument at the bar 3 years ago, do you even remember what it was about? That terrible grade in high school, is it still impacting your life today? 99% of the things keeping you up at night right now will be completely meaningless in a few years. When you master the zoom-out technique, shifting from your immediate personal perspective to the timeline of your life, you realize every current hardship is merely a speck of dust on the path you walk. Stop wasting tears on things that don't exist in your future. Principles 10. Become the observer. Stop being the reactor. This is the pinnacle of Stoic practice, the ultimate synthesis of every lesson before it. Change the way you speak to your own mind. Most people say, "I am furious," or "I am depressed." They completely identify themselves with that emotion. They turn themselves into the storm. A Stoic stands elsewhere. They say, "Anger is arising within me," or "I notice a feeling of anxiety passing through." You are not the cloud, you are the sky. Clouds may turn pitch black and carry thunder, but the sky is always there, vast, silent, and forever unshaped by the dark storm. When you separate yourself into the observer rather than the reactor, you create a safe distance. Emotions come and go. They appear, they peak, and they fade away. Your job is not to suppress them, but simply to stand by and watch them pass without ever letting them take the wheel of your life. You have walked through these 10 lessons with me. But remember this: knowledge without practice is nothing short of intellectual suicide. You can read hundreds of books on Stoicism and memorize every single quote by Marcus Aurelius. But if the moment you step away from this screen, you still let a single text message ruin your day, then you haven't learned a thing. Stoicism is not some armchair philosophy meant for cozy coffee shop debates. It is a mental survival kit forged for an increasingly chaotic world. Right now, pick exactly one lesson where you feel you are at your weakest. Maybe it's pausing for 5 seconds before you react. Maybe it's turning off your phone and sitting in silence for 10 minutes. Or maybe it's training yourself to stop expecting gratitude from others. Train it like you would train a muscle. At first, it will hurt. You will stumble. But slowly, you will notice a miraculous shift. You get angry less often. You sleep better. You become unshakable in the face of storms that once caused you to collapse. You will become the mountain that no tempest can tear down. If this video brought genuine value to your mindset, hit that subscribe button and share it with a friend who needs this rock-solid resolve right now. Stay disciplined, stay aware, and always remain the master of your mind. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video from the Stoic Path.